Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Coffee Review, MCR for some of you. It is a beautiful September 24th, and we're here to talk about some fun stuff with Bluebeam Revu and its associated products today. I'm Jason Artley, joined as always with Michael Achave, here to talk about all bunch of different things. But first, if you joined us early, we were talking about Michael's vacation in the land of Disney, and how's everything else going now that you're back?
It's good. Got some emails to wade through, but excited to be back in the office. Feel rejuvenated. Great PTO time here at ATG. So super excited to be back. And today, Jason said he had some news. I haven't been wading through any of my emails because I have too many. So we'll let him drop some of the good news stuff, but excited to be back.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you. I mean, we didn't take a MCR vacation, but just a
No,
long
never.
weekend. But we'll go through there. But on that note, today is actually my 6-year anniversary for ATG, which means I
That is
officially
great.
am awarded my sabbatical. So I got to plan that out because I don't think I'll be able to join MCR for a month. We'll see what happens then. Maybe I won't take one. I don't know. That seems silly. But we'll keep going. So I mentioned, or Michael mentioned that we have some news. Today's episode is all about what's new in review. And I was hoping that we'd wake up this morning and there'd be some magical update, but the update's not coming until after lunch. I just got that email. That's what Michael was talking about. So there will be an update. Revu 21.3 launches today. We're just a little early, right? So I will
I feel
tease
like
some of
that
the
always
things that's
happens.
coming out. It's a California company. They got to wake up and get their coffee and their croissants and all that other stuff, and then they'll hit the button. But and then 3 months from now, you might actually update, where I'll be hitting refresh all day, baby. I'm ready to go. But
Yeah,
we'll
that's the
see.
thing with me. Jason knows me all too well. I'll probably wait. I usually wait till last minute to update until Jason says I really need to update, and then I'll update. So
I would never rag on the left coasters, Doug. I'm a left coaster, born and raised. So I think I have a right, but also I miss it a little bit. Yeah. Blueprints. Ooh, David, I think we're close. We're close, right? So I think what we'll do, since it's not here, is I will open up Review 21. Let's go back. Let's
can we
fire up the
get?
time machine.
Can I guess
Yes,
before you go back in the time machine?
you get
Just
three
because,
guesses. There's
yeah,
one big improvement. Everything else is a little.
yeah. From Bluebeam Live. I'm gonna guess
Oh,
that.
that's cheating. You were at an event. Okay,
Well, that's what
sorry.
I'm saying. I'm seeing if some of those are coming out. So let me guess that one of them is going to be background color change.
Bingo.
Yes. And then probably just minor improvements. They're also probably going to make sure that virtual machines, there was some probably update for virtual machines, but
I
nothing.
didn't read anything about that, but that would
Okay.
be cool, right? So let's fire up the time machine and go to learn what's new, right? Because this is going to tell us the release notes.
Oh, did they already post them in here?
Oh, they didn't post it, but it will be later today. I think the note thing I saw said 11 a.m. PST, so that would be 1 p.m. Central. So that'll be interesting, right?
Yeah, that does make sense. They're all getting into the office and they got to push the update out and they have to
Yeah.
have support ready. Yeah.
So what I wanted to do was go back and look at some of the improvements from this year and see what you guys are actually using and see what things that you've heard about or excited about or like, wow, that really made a difference. And then we'll talk a little bit about the dark mode, blueprint mode, whatever you want to call it mode, that we'll be able to show off. Well, I guess next Tuesday. And next Tuesday, I hate to break it to you, is October.
Is it really already
Yeah,
October?
yeah. But it also means
Uh,
it's Tuesday and it's October, first Tuesday of the month. That means Civil Chat, Brian Haley's magical show. So we've got that. Next Tuesday will be special, except the whole October part. I don't think I'm ready. The leaves are starting to change up here. The pumpkin spice lattes are in the air. It's a matter of time. Like yesterday, I actually said burr on my dog walk. So, it's coming. So,
It's nice because it's definitely colder here in the evenings, but we had a break. I don't know what happened. I left, came back, and now we're 100-degree heat until next Monday again. But
yeah,
we
I
had a
saw
break in
that.
the hundreds. Yeah.
You guys are still 107, 105, whatever, but down to like 75 at night, which is, the highs up here. Um, but I'll take it. I I like that little sweet spot before the white stuff fills the carpet or the lawn carpet. Same thing. I was thinking about Arizona yards when they do the fake carpet. Anywho,
Yeah, it's. I know it's time when I stop watering the grass, cut it, and then I'm gonna do the winter rye. But anyways, yeah.
so let's go back, right? Let's go back to the first of the year. Ooh, can we go to the first of the year? No, that was okay. We'll just go to no, last October, right? So 21 came out 2 years ago. Isn't that crazy? It's been 2 years since 21 came out, and there's been these incremental improvements, and some of these have been pretty big. So last week we actually used Multiply quite a bit when Michael was laying out those chairs and trying to fill up that expo hall. Um, which, by the way, I have a diagram of the expo hall for Autodesk University. It's quite interesting.
What do you mean diagram?
Like last week when we are going over the diagram of the
Oh
San
yeah.
Diego Convention Center, now I know what the AU one's going to look like compared
How'd you
to
get
the
that?
one because we're exhibitors.
Uh,
So there we go. Another note. Next month, October 15th through 17th, if you're going to be in San Diego at the Autodesk University, come say hi. We'll be at the ATG booth, um, and hope to see some of you there.
yeah,
But
Jason and I will be there,
yeah, and Matt, Kyle
and
Lee.
Matt Lynn,
Oh
Kyle
man,
Lee.
we're gonna have a whole
Who
group
else
group of folks.
that
Um,
has been on MCR?
I think that's it. Who's been on MCR, but um,
Maybe we can
several.
get PJ on before we go. We should try to make
Ooh,
that work.
ooh,
So he
maybe.
can talk about scanning. Let's do that.
Okay,
You all meet PJ if you're going to AU before AU.
yeah, PJ's amazing. So maybe we'll make that happen. All right. So we did multiply. We talked about that quite a bit last week. Custom captions. We've struggled with this over the past looks year, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
you can choose that, and it doesn't always work for the same for everybody, right? And I think there's some more fine tuning in there, but when it works, it's pretty slick.
Was there a patch for that you saw?
Uh, we'll find out because I'm going to scroll up. The center coordinate values. I've never used this. I know I showed it off when these came out, but like I haven't had anybody even ask for it. Is anybody out there using this? And then there was the improvement to Studio. Studio's the biggest thing right now. There's going to be more enhancements today, allegedly, as well. Um, and then there we go. So then moving up, we did 21.1. So you'll notice, in traditional, typical review fashion, the incremental updates are the other decimals, and the big updates are the second position, right? So a 21.0.50 minor, 21.1 big one. And the big one was from this April when Auto Align, aka their version of AI, see Bluebeam AI technology. Um,
So, and I was really big against it because it's not truly AI, but that is the starting point to truly AI, which is what they'll have, which will auto align areas. So that will be truly AI.
right. Like when this came out, you're like, oh, that's it. But you can see where that's going, right? If
Mm-hmm.
they can get the small parts to work, they can certainly make the big parts to work later, which is pretty cool. The search for preferences, super handy. I still use this one quite a bit when jumping in there because we've always struggled with like where was that at again? Was that in here? Because they have the tabs and like no, it's over here, and then you go. It's just too much. So just tell me where grips are, or not grips, snaps. There we go. Boom.
And And I will say at some point, because the way they were talking, they're gonna have, and this just tinfoil hat, by the way. They didn't for
Oh,
sure announce this. They're gonna have a we've done snap to color. They're gonna have a suggested markup like buddy. Like you know clip art kind of like that. They're gonna have
like
a markup
Clippy?
like yeah, like a markup assistant. I'm gonna bet. I'll put some money on it that
Oh,
they're gonna have a markup assistant while you're going through.
oh, that's a bold bold bet right there. Because like Clippy back in the day, for those who remember Clippy, was annoying. But then, but with everything sort of going back in retro, I could see like, okay, Clippy's not so bad.
It won't, yeah, and it won't be like I'm just saying Clippy as an assistant, but like you'll have a markup AI assistant suggesting as you're going through and utilizing markups what may be better or maybe help you make markups.
That'd be funny. Like, hey, this whole section of this room is messed up. And what if we start reading your plans?
Yeah.
Um,
But you
which would
can
be
see it like
interesting.
with the
Yeah.
search being built into everywhere. Then they're gonna have for sure AI that searches through PDFs in your studio projects and inside the metadata of your PDFs. It's like you'll be able to search content that's not just the name, bookmarks, or anything like that. You'll be able to search like section marker 2.0 for foundation detail. I
That would be.
told everyone that, right? That that's coming for sure.
Oh, that's no longer tinfoil hat.
Well, I'm taking the tinfoil hat off. This is different. In
Okay.
projects, you'll have a UI that allows you to search for content in PDFs by things also inside the PDFs themselves, not just by the titles.
That would be pretty cool.
No, that is coming.
Right.
Yeah. So in here, you'll get a new UI. You click this, you'll get a new UI that's a browser that you can browse through and search for anything in any of your projects that allow it'll pop up here basically, and you can search via browser that allows you to search for anything, even the metadata in the file itself.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that will be coming for sure. They featured that at Bluebeam Live. So that's going to be another like feature that is grabbing data in the cloud.
Mm. So it's not perfect now, right? I'm searching for metric because I know in the Arch folder under design files, let's see if it goes this level. No. Okay. I know there's a metric in here, right? What if I went?
It
No?
should, yeah, it should arrive around the time that they launch projects into Studio Cloud, Bluebeam
Which
Cloud.
will be, according to that magical email this morning, let's just say before Halloween. Tinfoil hat, part of my costume.
Okay,
That'd be
so,
a good costume.
we should just wear tinfoil hats and then just talk about all the things that we think that are coming. But I don't think it's going to come that early. So it'll probably be next year, Q1, I believe, around
Oh,
then.
oh boy. And if you haven't noticed, I'm a little extra caffeinated today. I had 2 cups of coffee and not just one. Um, so I got that going for me. Today's a big day in my world, so I'm enjoying it. Okay. So that search is so for now, right? Let's go back to release notes. Let me get out of my studio project because that might come up again later. They fixed the dynamic fill ish. Mine doesn't crash, but it doesn't always work. I was trying to demo it last week, and it was a disaster. I'll see if I can pull up that same file and see if we can get it to work again. The banner, this has been kind of nice. But the main thing that I was curious about, so the last update, the last big update, 21.2, was from June, which feels like a year ago.
So wait,
Was
we had how many this last year?
in 2024.
Yes.
We've had two. So 21.1 came out in April, 21.2 came out in June, 21.3 comes out today, September 24th. So every couple months,
They said that they
April,
are
May,
going to have
June,
one.
June,
Yeah.
July, August.
They said they were going to have one every quarter. Or if I
So
remember, they said they did, but
they're
it
kind of
doesn't
on
look
track
like.
for that.
Well,
Maybe that one
Q3
was
ended,
late.
right? Yeah.
I can't keep track, man. I barely knew it was September. Don't get me into quarters. That's fractional stuff. Give me decimals, man. No, no, I think they might be a little behind, but overall, still three big updates in 1 year. That's pretty huge. If you compare it to, let's say, a Autodesk product that might get one big update, a dot one a year, you know, Civil 3D 25.1 just came out like last month, I believe,
hmm Yeah,
which is
they said that
actually
they
pretty
plan to
cool.
have one every year. And everyone asks us, well, I've been getting emails recently, when is 24, 25 coming
Yeah.
out review? And that's, if we remember, when they launched review 20, they distinctively launched it as review 20, not
Mm-hmm.
2019 like they did when they released 2019 version of review. Reason being is they don't want to do an annual year lock so that when updates, just so let's just use Autodesk as a perfect example. They do patch fixes between the year, meaning fixing their product, where Bluebeam does both. They fix a release and also release new items and features into it by quarter, is what they're saying. That's why I was questioning earlier, because they were saying they're releasing one every quarter.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like their promise to us, not Jason and I as channel partners, but you all as users. So
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And again, I think the frequency of these updates is there to highlight the benefit of subscription, right? You're going to get new functionality. It's not just bug fixes. And I see other software companies doing the same thing,
yeah.
right? It's not just all bug fixes, which what we're kind of used to. Now it's going to be a little bit more tangible, like, oh, cool, a new setting, something I've been wanting, something I've been asking for. You're going to get that without having to wait for a whole new version.
Yep.
Now, big fat asterisk on that, a whole new version, it's not a big deal. But like the Bluebeam update is going to be over a gig. It's a download, right? When we use our VPN, like it's going to take 10 minutes to download that thing, another 10 minutes to install it. So like maybe that's why it's coming out at lunchtime. Um, but these smaller updates that we've had before, like boom, it's done in 30 seconds. These are the same install as if we were doing a review, you know, 2025, which doesn't exist and will not exist. Don't hold me to that. As Michael said, the whole um the whole thing of
Releases,
there we go,
updates.
releases and tying it to a year. My tinfoil hat was getting in my hands because I was going to put it back on for something real quick. And I still might if I remember my train of thought. It's a little wavy today if you haven't been able to tell.
No, you're good. So
Um, yeah.
I'll at least say, yeah, I'll at least say this. Hopefully it comes back. The whole point of having this is also from an IT perspective. I can just imagine how much easier it is to push
Mm-hmm.
an update out versus uninstall, reinstall new solutions, which we all have to do from an Autodesk perspective.
Mm-hmm.
This just helps all of you, I would assume, from an IT end. You're just pushing out an update versus uninstalling, people having questions about the new version, right? And then, well, what about my old one? Am
Mm-hmm.
I going to lose anything? Hopefully, the next update, if it's not in this one, also comes with the tool sets. I'm going to assume when that will probably only work when they finally have it fixed in the background. So that way you'll have your tool sets locked by user. Well, it's both. You can still share them as a BTX file, but the BTX kind of file, I guess you would say, would be then now tied to the user base. There was a comment in here that's someone said that they're holding out on. I don't want to just pinpoint you who said it, but basically for the YouTube land, I don't want to live it on forever. But basically holding out for review 20 we're all seeing the gap starting to be larger.
Mm-hmm.
So once, if you're a studio user and you're not using cloud right now at this point, that's kind of a hindrance, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
in personal perspective, because you can now do most things on your phone. Once you're able to do measurements and have access to your tool sets via your mobile device, that is
Which,
going to be,
yeah,
sorry,
which is coming.
yeah, it's going to be here. And once everything can be done on your phone, that will be a huge game changer, and that will probably push the gap over.
Yeah, I mean, Michael and I are always on calls every week with customers, and they're like, "Well, I'm hanging on to Review 20 for dear life," and I'm like, but why? Why? Which brought me to my tinfoil hat thing because you remember when Bluebeam announced, again, this is all tinfoil hat. This is not ATG. This is only Jason's imaginary tinfoil hat wearing self. Remember when Review 2019 and below end of life was announced? They did an end of sale a year before, right? You can no longer buy 19 for whatever reason, and then a year later they announced the end of life, and the end of life lit a 1 year timeline on that, right? So this is what I'm saying. We're about the 1 year mark since the end of sale of Review 20. I'm tinfoil hat. I will bet you half of a half-eaten Starbucks scone next month that they will announce the end of life of Review 20.
So,
Oh, which would be another year. So you'd have until 2025. I think that's reasonable because again, Bluebeam Cloud is awesome and it's something you should be leveraging. So what a better way than to kick you out of Review 20 entirely and force everybody over to 21? You got words, you got
yeah,
opinions. Put your
so
hat back on.
yeah. Um, People asked that at Bluebeam Live, and they said it's not going anywhere yet. My thing is probably when they fix. So the reason why some people are still, the reason why they wouldn't sunset it and make it not accessible is that people are still able to use it in a different capacity on virtual machines, government sites, so they can't just deactivate it.
Okay.
I think when they fix that, right, from an install on a specific government site where it can't ever touch the internet, right? When they fix those types of things, and the VDI issue, which they have fixed it for some, I think, and once they fix all that, then I can see them fast tracking a sunset of that solution.
Okay. Yeah, I forget about this. And this is something that they've been constantly struggling with
Mm-hmm.
because the non-persistent virtual machines, especially because there's 20 different platforms. If like virtual machines was just Cisco or just VMware or whatever, it might be easier to solve. But since there's so many, that does make it tricky.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I think mid next year, or maybe next year, it'll be a 2 year end of sale date when they finally announce an end of life.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see. I'm yeah, you're right. If there wasn't those two big lingering issues, especially the
Yeah.
the government not liking the cloud. That's a big part of it. But like if Review got FedRAMP approval, oh man, that's a whole different story.
It's the issue with touching the internet. Like their solutions can never touch the internet, right? That site. So
Without
perpetual
FedRAMP, yeah.
version, yeah, uh, the perpetual version doesn't need to ping it consistently for
Hmm.
checking licensure, right? And that's the issue. Like if a machine doesn't ever touch the internet, how's it going to ping the licensure? Which I think you can get a code right now or something like that where you can have it. But I think once they figure all that out, then it's kind of off to the races. At that point, it's the product works everywhere for everyone as it did before. We just need to switch it over. So
There we go. So going back to 21.2, the tool chest search. You guys using this one? I think it's pretty cool. I don't use it. I, for some reason, am just used to scrolling, and usually I'm just using my civil landscaping, which I use way more than anything else. I should just move that up, right? Up here, but I don't. So just sort of force of habit. But yeah, I could totally go find my mulch in here and not have to um, search or scroll down. All depends on what you're using. If you have one of these loaded tool sets, and again, if you are using the web browser, which I'm in, right? Web tab. If you go to, which I should have, custom libraries. These custom libraries, if you go download some of these, are a bit more intense, right? There's more stuff going on, especially like I don't know what all these symbols mean, but that's where the search would be more valuable if you knew you were looking for a capacitor or a control valve or whatever the heck all this stuff is.
And they updated this page, by the way. It's completely different. When I was searching for stuff, just so you're all
Yeah,
aware, this page has been updated.
it does look different because it actually has the stuff on the side.
Yeah.
Oh, what else is in resources then? Compatibility. So they did make it a little easier. Custom libraries. Nice. Um. So yeah, did they add anything new? Because these haven't been updated in 5+ years. Hmm. Not really. Oil and gas, structural steel.
Yeah, no, the page was just updated. They didn't update like adding new tool sets, which would have been cool. But I think they rely on the community to do that. So
Yeah. Interesting. It would be cool to do a civil one, underground utilities. But hey, we can make our own. We've talked about that before. But yeah, if you did have a bigger library that you either curated yourself or downloaded or bought from U Chapter 2,
you
not
have to
even
buy
bought,
them from you,
free.
Chapter Chi?
No, the
Yeah,
free
I
one.
think they're
You
free.
can
Yeah.
buy if you want
Yeah.
something super custom. Troy is the man when it comes to that stuff. Um, but if you had one of these that was all built out where you had a ton, this search feature would be super handy, right? Like I need valves really quick, right? And it's just going to filter them for you. So not something I personally use, but I bet some of you all do. And I should probably have my chat open because I don't even see what's going on. Give me a second.
No, yeah, you probably do want to have it open because some folks you asked them to reply. So Doug said he
Okay.
hasn't used it, but he could see it being utilized from the search function. And then David says it's good for him to search for some items.
There we go. Let me
And
get
I
my.
could see, and people did say at Bluebeam University that they do, I mean, Bluebeam Live, that they do use it because they have a ton, right? So, like, if you have a bunch of custom tool sets or even just a bunch of tools in a custom tool set, markups being the label of tools, you're going to want to search, right? Versus like scrolling and looking, you can just easily search.
Yeah, yeah. There's some good stuff. There's some good stuff. Status keyboard shortcut. I know we love statuses here. Nobody loves them more than Liz. But are you guys using these? So if I go back, what we're
People
talking
did say
about.
they liked them. They just wish they could assign them.
Yeah, and you only can go so far, right? So if you're doing a markup here and you want to apply a status, now you have the ability to do shift 1, shift 2, shift 3, shift 4, up to shift 9 or shift 0. But yeah, it's a total thing, right? And I don't know about you all, but my hands are only so big. I can't do shift and 8 or 9 without really stretching. That's where I would want like shift 1 1, shift 2
Yep.
2, where I can get a little closer. Again, old AutoCAD habits of remapping my keyboard to only be left hand stuff.
See,
Right?
mine used to be not try to use my keyboard as little as possible and just use my mouse. Nobody assign anything just to my mouse.
Yeah, yeah. Stream Deck. There we go. I've got that sitting in front of me. Do I
Mm-hmm.
use it? Not really. Um, it lights up cool. I should get that working again.
It's just more buttons, right? I mean, keyboards can have more buttons too. Like my
Yeah.
keyboard from Logitech has side buttons that you can assign that are kind of like the F3 buttons, but they're
Mm,
just labeled as G buttons. So it gives you just more buttons. That's all. That's what it is that you can assign something to. All right. So what's next? Because I want to know what's new.
Whoa. Oh, just get to it, huh? Well, okay, let's go back. We talked about the auto align. It's 8 times faster, but it was already super fast, so you probably really couldn't even tell, right? Um, so there's that. And then export latest status only. Was that a thing, or was that a setting,
Yeah, so
right?
basically what happened was it's a setting. People would have a ton of statuses, and when they were using it from an export to import for
Hmm.
other third party solutions, it was they would have to filter it out. So they would have to do something like Doug would Power Query and filter out and only get the latest statuses. So now you can now you can do it by just specific new statuses like your most recent.
There wasn't a setting for that? Status all. Huh.
I think it just does the recents, right?
Because I would kind of want the history. I don't know. At least have a toggle for it.
The hide
'Cause-
feature, yeah, that's people really love that new hide feature
yeah,
too.
that was the next one on the list, right? Oh, not the okay. German, yeah. There's going to be more language improvements on today's update as well. I think I saw Spanish and French.
Yeah.
New PDF units, still pretty cool. You don't have to have a global set of units for your whole plan set. Each sheet can be different. But hide was the big one. Quickly. So hide is going to also show off the ribbon thing. So if you go back where, I don't want to see this one, I can go over here and I can choose hide. And then it's going to tell me, hey, I've got 2 markups hidden. And when you hover over it, it's going to show you where those are, which is pretty cool. Right. So it comes in really handy when you're dealing with very complicated, very busy sets. And I can pull up some of our nightmare ones from Studio um, that can do that. Right. So, um, pretty cool. And you can quickly toggle that, click on it. So I was hovering over to get that little preview, but you can do that. So I'm curious for this one. Will it hide the little icon too? That's a separate markup. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. And then click them and it releases them. So pretty handy. Hopefully you guys are using that. Can you hide other people's markups in a session? I don't remember. Let's go find out. So let's go to our ugly demo session. You asked for it, Brian. This is what you get. Um,
Is this mine? The one that I created way back? Yeah, it
we
is.
got a few of them. There's multiple pages in here. But like, can I go hide? This is not mine, right? I can't
It's
move it. I
mine.
can't manipulate it. Can I hide it? I can. So you can't get rid of other people's stuff, but if it's in your way, like, hey, this is in my way. I need to go. You know, this is in my way. What does that say? I can't say new office. What? I can come over here, hide that, and now I can clear out the area that I need to be in. Again, and this should warn everybody. Ooh, that's a good question. Michael, if you jump in here, will it
Yeah, let me
say if
jump
these
in.
markups are hidden?
I
I'll go
think it's
hide.
just specific to you because you're not
Yeah.
hiding it for everyone. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I thought we tested this before,
yeah,
but
I don't see it. It doesn't
okay.
show here. It doesn't
But
show me
yeah,
like someone X, Y, and Z is hiding it. No.
can I hide a bunch? Oh, I think I clicked wrong there. I can hide a bunch at one time. So there you go. That makes life pretty easy, right? And again, that's kind of hard to avoid. You got this big old orange thing telling you something's going on here. Quickly click it, get everything back. Good stuff.
Yeah, that
All
was a
right.
feature that people definitely did like. That one, the search, the auto align, some folks did like. And there was a lot built into that. So even though we were I was definitely frustrated. I'll be completely transparent as always. Thinking that it's just the title block, but they're looking at multiple different areas. So it is the foundation to be built as that moving things around to different areas to align. So it truly the dev of it is deeper than what
Mm-hmm.
it looks from the surface. once that release comes out where it actually aligns things where it sees it from another plan. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
To a true AI feature.
A true AI. Getting closer. All right, so that brings us to what's going to be new today, right? I'm going to hit refresh. They're probably not going to launch these until they hit the button in a couple hours. But the big one is something that a lot of people have been asking for. Some of you have got it right already. There's going to be a dark mode. Like, well, what are you talking about? There already is a dark mode, right? Shall I expose you to the horrors of the light mode? I feel dirty even. Sorry, I should have warned you y'all better. I do know people that do this mode, and every time I see it, I'm like, what? It reminds me of like something
Adobe.
maybe I want to say like MS Paint or something like old Windowsy, but yeah, that
Yeah,
color. It's that old
it's
tan color from the side of computers and monitors. Remember when every computer was like that color?
yep.
Um, but yeah, so when you say like dark mode, no, this is not what we're talking about. That's a theme. There's going to be a dark mode. So notice that when I go from light mode, light theme to dark theme, I'm getting my words right, the actual PDF still looks like paper, right? Now, in AutoCAD, Civil 3D, Revit, you have that paper background because it looks like paper, right? But still, that kind of hurts my eyes. And if I do this, it's brightening up a lot of things. You're going to be able to invert colors, which you cannot do currently.
Yeah.
And by
So
inverting colors, it's going to be easier on your eyes. It's going to be easier to see. However, it's not going to be a representation of paper.
well, you can make it a vellum type of paper too. So you'll be able to make your background. Essentially when you change it, the PDF can be whatever color you want it to be. And it's going to invert the colors of the line weights. Now, the line weights themselves aren't going to be changeable, but someone did ask that at Bluebeam Live. Can I make, because let's just make, for instance, we want a black piece of paper with orange line weights. It's not going to do that. It's just going to invert the color.
Just a
You,
full invert. Yeah, I guess
yeah.
we'll find out in a few hours.
There's a question regarding the markup ID, column ID. When creating a summary, what would be the reason for the markup ID to change in a studio session?
Okay, studio session. Let's go back to the columns,
The
right?
markup
Markup
ID
ID, which
slash the column ID. So there's a markup ID.
not in
Do you manage
itself.
columns? Let's see.
There is no markup ID, but based on other software, there is an ID for this particular one, right? When Joe Demo did this, there is something that ties that number or that thing to a number, and that's what tracks it no matter what. So if I change it from cloud to, whatever, that ID doesn't change. So basically when you export this to probably a CSV, it should give me a markup ID columns. There we go. Interesting. Is that there for PDF? It is not. Okay. So
So
if you're
it's a
doing
CSV.
CSV, only CSV. So only in CSV mode do you have the ability for an ID column, right? So if you do the CSV export and we open file after completion, see if it opens up on the right screen. I mean the right screen, but not the right screen. Got it?
Oh, so it's a
Um,
GUID value, or
it's
it's an
something.
identifier. Yeah, some type of identifier. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jose, you're saying what would cause that? Yeah,
I
I
would
don't know.
assume because it's remaking the markups when it's outside of a session. So the reason when you export a PDF from a session into its own PDF format, it's no longer owned by the individual user. And then when it's uploaded, this happens when people download a PDF set from sessions and then they create a new session and no one owns the markups because they're remade as prior before being uploaded into the session because it's a new set of markups. I'm wondering if that initiates a new markup. It could be a possible bug fix if they were to try to fix it, but I wonder if it's just because it is making a new markup that's what it's doing when you save a PDF down. So it's no longer owned by an individual user of that session. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are pretty cool. So here's the original ID, and then here's the parent. So it's basically a child because there was a response, right? Whenever you do that reply, it still ties it to that ID.
Yeah, watch. So you created this on what PDF? Do you remember?
This was in the site plan one.
Okay, so save as. Right click.
From here.
Yeah. Can you right click save as? Yeah. And let's do an export by itself and compare. Does that make sense?
Okay. So
and then
now
export.
I'm out of the other session. We're no longer in a session, right? Okay. So same thing. Boom, boom. CSV, ID column, same settings. Do. Okay. So are they the same? They look the same.
We'll go to the reply. So pull it out more. Let's see that one reply.
Anything says
number 29. So it's not giving you a parent.
Oh, wait. Yeah, it is.
Okay. So yours are all the same.
Yeah. So it kept the same values for each one, and I don't imagine that would change. So the ID changes when the markup is copied and pasted. Well, yeah, that would make sense because it's a whole new instance.
Yeah.
Does the original one go away? Because that would be interesting.
What's this big long one from? A group? So a group gets yeah.
Yeah.
A group gets a different one.
It's like a registry key or something.
Yeah.
If you copy and paste the same markup to another PDF or same PDFs, the ID changes.
Huh. Well, yeah, because it's a new instance, right? And this is itemizing every instance.
Well, let's not save that one. Come here. So in this is my save as, right? So now I have full control of everybody's stuff. This guy, this cloud.
Let's do it on the one that, yeah, never mind. Just do it on this one.
One of the ones with a response.
Yeah, that way it's a little bit easier to see. Where's that one?
Here we go. Deciduous. Move, please. So that was our 29, I believe, right? So I copy and paste you.
It's a new instance, right?
But this original one is what he's saying changes.
Oh, okay.
So the first one has a response that should stay the same, and then there should be 3 new ones which I will never understand, right? Same thing. CSV. Testing live on the air. That's what we do. Okay, let's go back. I got a little funky here.
And for those of you yelling at the screen, Jason does know if he double clicks a cell, it expands it. He's just dragging it.
I don't know that. I am an Excel idiot, and every time I try to get
you
better,
don't know it?
Worse. No, I mean I know it. Michael told or Matt told me that like 4 years ago. Did I remember it? No.
Because I would assume somebody on YouTube is yelling. But anyways,
yeah, like not do this.
Yeah,
just double click on the cells.
You double click on the area where you were going to drag it. So
yeah, that's too much work. Yeah. I can just grab it.
I think it's a click. I don't think it's a double click. So where was that one that we're talking about?
We're looking for the one that says move, please.
There it is, right there. Row Hold on, go up. Oh, we are up. Deciduous.
And this is where people are like, well, how aren't you doing? Why
Right
aren't you
here.
doing
Hold on.
fine?
29, 29, 29. Left is 29. Yep.
This
Is
is
that
my new one.
Okay, yeah. So look around 29. There you go.
They look the same to me. Because
Yeah,
got
those are the
dang in
same.
it. Dang, P-Dov. Huh. If you want the ID to stay the same, you have to export. Hmm.
Well, this is the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I did
But
the
the new
export,
ones
but I
wouldn't
didn't
be
do
the
the import.
same. Yeah, but the new ones wouldn't be the same, right? Because they're
Oh, are you saying import, export the thingies? I got what you're saying. And I'm going to test your little theory here. So you're saying select these and then double click on that. There you go. If a markup moves to a new version, the ID does stay the same. Okay. So not sure what the issue would be there then, Jose. Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah, we're
So
not able to replicate the issue, I guess, is the issue.
yeah, wonder why. Because yeah, usually, in most things, Simple 3D, AutoCAD, whatever software, there's usually a unique identifier for whatever object it is. So that shouldn't change. But yeah, maybe if that happens again, Jose, email us one of those files and we'll play with it if you can. Because this, if you're in it, especially in an instance where like Doug is playing in Power BI or something, changing that ID value could have bad repercussions, right? Had the issue on a studio session, the contractor made changes and the ID changed. Huh. I don't know. What if
If they
it had
change the markup, wouldn't that be making a new markup? So let's see if that happens. So if you go to that plant again and change the original markup, right click and let's do change colors or something.
Oh.
Cool.
Does
So
that
let's,
change?
yeah, does that
Okay.
change? It was number 29. Is it going to stay 29? I don't know, but
Here, just for you, Doug. 29.
it looks the same.
29. Yeah, dang, P-Dov, still there. So I did change, change the property, but not the actual element or whatever it is. So there's got to be, this doesn't look like there's any sort of theory or standard or whatever. It's just like spit out some letters. Huh. 98. How many are in here? 95, right? Because there should be 3 new items that I have pasted right over here. 1, 2, 3. So yeah. Yeah, it's not copy paste because that makes a whole new item, but nothing's changing that original one. So, huh. And one more try, right? I'll change the subject from deciduous to testing this thing.
And
Because the
then move
subject
it.
is actually a
And
different. Ooh,
yeah, there you go.
okay. Saves these. CSVs. There we go. Had to wait. Whoops. 29. Dang, P-Dov. Still there.
Yeah, it
Oh,
looks the same.
this is redeciduous. Testing this thing. Yeah. Did that one change? So, be 28. Why, Mom? Why, Mom? No, that's the same. So I changed the subject, and that didn't do it. I'm out of ideas. Yeah. someone at Bluebeam like knows that this is some acronym for something silly, you know? Like,
I would
oh,
assume it's a random character number, right? Each time, right?
no, someone at Bluebeam totally knows the code. Peter knows all this. He's like, oh yeah,
Peter does probably know all
yeah.
this.
Let's explore caves, dude. I just, I don't know. I lost it. But anywho, that's a good one, Jose. That was an interesting little test, but I think we were inconclusive. So I'm gonna say Gremlins on that one.
Yep. So we
Yeah.
have the PDF changing. What else? Was it just patches after that?
Please hold as I stop sharing my screen, and pull it back up. Um, so the dark mode is coming, and then, uh, oh, oh, this is wait, let me sure, is this one coming today? Yeah. Um, Figuring out how to invite users to studio collaborations is not always intuitive, causing more mouse clicks and less collaboration. The Bluebeam solution, a new big fat blue button up in the upper right corner is going to say share. So you can click the new big blue share button to easily invite collaborators to sessions and projects. So that will be nice. Wow.
And the great thing about Studio is that users don't even need to install now Bluebeam. They can just web
Correct.
browse and mark up.
Correct. And then more French and Spanish translation quality and UI enhancements,
Hmm.
such as unit formatting. Okay. There are different units
Maybe.
in French and Spain. It's showing the Spanish flag, like in Spain. Spain
Well,
flag?
there's
Spanish
metric,
flag?
right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then updated 2025 versions of AutoCAD and Revit Bluebeam plugins. We've been waiting for that one for a while,
What are they going to
right?
do to it?
Just make it so it exists,
Oh,
right? Because there's
okay.
no
Yeah.
plugins for AutoCAD or Revit 2025.
No. Let's see how easy it actually updates to plug into your Autodesk software. Like, do I have to uninstall? Ooh, maybe I need to install Revit 25 today
Ooh.
prior to the update to see if I have to uninstall Revit 25 to make the add-in updated in Autodesk side. Does that make
Mm,
sense?
no, usually it do Bluebeam last because it installs on whatever versions you have installed. So if you had 23, 24, and 25 installed and you ran the Bluebeam install today prior to a few hours from now, it would only install on 23 and 24 because it wouldn't have that 25 one. If you install Revit 25 and then run the update this afternoon, it will be there.
Because it makes you close Revit 25.
Yep, and
Okay.
it makes it close Outlook and it makes it close Word and Excel and all the things. So that's why I said earlier, like it's a 20-minute thing to do an update, right? Because it will go so far as like, oh, you've got Outlook open. I'm like, well, I'm trying to do work here still, bud. So um, it
That's
is
why I
what it
don't
is.
like updating.
I mean, you should probably take a lunch break every now and then, but even still, you take a lunch break, you come back like, oh yeah, I forgot to close this. Um, so yeah, those are going to be the big ones for today. And then coming in a couple of weeks, which we've already been talking about from Michael's Bluebeam live experience, sessions, projects, everything in cloud, including editor improvements, are all coming.
So
Be
that's what
able
they
to,
put
yep,
coming.
access sessions from URLs. I mean, it's
Dang.
going to be awesome. And that's where, like, if you're not leveraging cloud now, or if you're currently a heavy studio user, you can really benefit from the cloud. Now, I will say, remember back in the Project Rover days, we were like, we weren't very excited about it. But now it's like, this is the game changer. That's the thing you can be leveraging.
Yeah, their whole keynote of it is Bluebeam anywhere. That is
Yeah.
the ethos of it, being able to utilize the desktop application mobily because you still have once projects comes available, I wonder if they're going to be able to like if they're going to add in like compare or the ability to move documents around, like is that going to be built into it or is it just the studio based capabilities? I don't know. I probably should have asked that question because that's something I would want to be able to do.
Yeah, I mean, the rate of improvement, like whatever you can dream, you can do, right? And again, thinking about what we see on the community port. If you go to community.bluebeam.com, you know, there's all the stuff in here for, you know, what ideas you want, what's coming,
Mm-hmm.
because they've been pretty forthcoming to say, hey, okay, that's a good idea. Let's talk about it. But there's
And
lots of
then
good stuff in here.
labs, you can be a tester of the new product before it's even launched.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of you are lab folks already. So, oh, look at this. I haven't seen this before. You'll notice the old projects section and its drawings no longer available.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, it's just another thing. If you go back into cloud though,
Oh,
do you still have your own drawings dashboard? So
no.
my workspace. Yeah, so it's my workspace. This my workspace, I'm wondering, because this is where you can literally just put a PDF in my workspace. It's not coming from a project or a session, I know. But in here, so you do have the ability now to mark up. Now, I wonder what you could do mobile. It's probably everything that you can traditionally do on a mobile. You can literally mark up a PDF on the go
Mm-hmm.
anywhere right now.
Yeah.
And it's not
Yeah.
in a session, it's just a PDF on the go, right? You don't have to have it saved to a session itself, but you have access to this.
Correct.
That's cool. Yeah. You'd be like, hey, I'm flying out tomorrow, but I need to mark up the set for X, Y, and Z to redline and update the set. I could digitally mark this up. I'd probably want it in a session. That's how you should be using this workflow. That way they can see
Right.
it immediately. Because I guess you're going to have an issue of like, how do I share this? Because it's in your workspace. But
Yeah.
anyways.
This is, you know, and David mentioned it, there's no markups in here or no measurements here. So if you're going to do some traditional markup stuff where you don't need measurements, the My Workspace is a pretty good thing to do. Or if it's just, hey, shopping list, checklist, you know, there's a bunch of different things in here that would be beneficial.
And there's a
It's
shared with me part. What? So how do you
kind
share?
of right click on it, share.
Okay. See, so now you could just share it with somebody. That's cool.
Oh. Yeah, it doesn't work for takeoff on the go, but it works for markups. Oh, only added people, so I can just copy a link and
So
get out of town.
it will be measurements will be on the phone. So every single measurement, they said, everything you can do in a session will be, I'm hoping anything you do on a desktop application, because I want to see what projects is going to look like. But from a session perspective, for sure, everything in a session will be able to be done on your phone.
Yep.
I'd be interested to see how they do dynamic fill.
Yeah. Field dimensioning, like I don't know if you've played with the Measure app on the iPhone. If you've got like it was a 13 and newer with the LiDAR, if you've ever used that Measure app, it's pretty darn slick. So imagine being able to use that from your mobile device, go click to click and get dimensions and have that read. Like,
Yeah,
that'd be cool. Well, this is running a little slow. It's trying to load and my computer is saying, hey, it's
and we're
past
at
time
time.
anyway. So
Got caught up.
enjoyed the discussion today. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week. And good luck on the update today.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. And we'll look forward to seeing you all next week.
Yep. We'll see you.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of the other content on our channel.